Nigerian Senate constitutes 43-man committee to review the constitution. Street hawking on the rise in Lagos as cost of living crisis worsens. Rescheduled rerun elections hit by unrest in Enugu as Taraba witnesses smooth process. On the international scene, Israel-Hamas ceasefire talks continue as Rafah ground assault looms. Many thanks for joining us on the News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Here's the news in full. The Senate has announced a 43-member Constitution Amendment Committee to be chaired by the Deputy Senate President, Barrow Jibrin, with the Senate leader, Bamidele Okpeyemi, as Vice Chairman. The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, while announcing the committee, said the 1999 Constitution needs a major review. Here's the report.
Senator Akpabio also charged the Deputy Senate President to invite speakers of state houses of assembly for interaction before beginning the constitutional review process. The Constitutional Amendment Committee is made up of 43 senators, comprising 37 from each state of the Federation, including the FCT, and another 6 representing the geopolitical zones of the country.
The committee will be inaugurated on Tuesday so that they can start functioning immediately. So all the motions and resolutions pertaining to constitutional amendment that have been brought to the Senate since last year will now be channeled straight to that committee. If you have your ideas, I have my ideas, you bring forward so that we can do a good job. And then Deputy Senate President, you also invite speakers of all the state assemblies for interaction with the Senate President before we go into the major issues of presenting the different memoirs.
The Senate Committee review, through inputs from stakeholders, will identify relevant sections of the Constitution to be amended to give answers to contemporary national issues. Meanwhile, the Senate has received the request of President Bola Tinubu to confirm the appointment of a chairman and members of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN Monetary Policy Committee, MPC. Tinubu's request was conveyed in a letter addressed to the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and read at plenary on Wednesday. In the letter, the President listed CBN Governor Oleyemi Cardoso as the chairman and 11 others as members. According to the letter, members include CBN Deputy Governors Mohammed Abdullahi, Bala Bello, Usoro, and Philip Ikazo, as well as Muritala Sabo, who is a director in the Apex Bank. Others are Director General, Security and Exchange Commission, Lamido Yuguda, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance, Jafara Shehu, Aloysius Uche, Agu Pauline, Mustafa Akikemu, and Bamidele Omo.
Senator Godswill Akpabio, GCON, President of the Senate, Senate Chambers, National Assembly Complex, 3 Arms Zone, Abuja. Constitution of the Monetary Policy Committee for the Central Bank of Nigeria. In accordance with the provisions of Section 12 of the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Act 2007, I am pleased to present for confirmation by the Senate the appointments of the underlisted 12 persons as chairman and members of Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Akpabio therefore referred the request to committees on finance, banking, insurance, and other financial institutions for further legislative inputs and report back to the plenary in 1 week.
And 60 House of Representatives lawmakers have proposed a transition from the presidential to a parliamentary system of government for the country by 2031. The federal lawmakers who briefed newsmen in Abuja on the new proposal said a bill to that effect was listed for first reading at plenary on Wednesday. They further supported their argument by pointing out the flexibility in the operation of the parliamentary system of government adopted by the founding fathers of Nigeria, noting that it promoted peace, unity, and prosperity of the country as observed in the 6 years it was practiced between 1960 and 1966. The group of lawmakers also proposed a transition period of 2031 as ideal to enable Nigerians make inputs to the bill.
Culminated into the adoption of a new system of government, theoretically fashioned after the presidential system of United States, but in practice imbibe the utmost attributes of military rule. No wonder the Nigerian president appears to be one of the most powerful presidents in the world. Over the years, the imperfections of presidential system of government have become glaring to all. Despite several alterations to the constitution to address the shortcomings of a system that has denied the nation the opportunity of attaining its full potentials.
A less expensive parliamentary system of government. Now, we expect that the process may not necessarily terminate with the current administration. In actual fact, we expect that it will even go beyond 2027. But what is important is that we have set the ball rolling.
And troops of Operation Safe Haven, OPSH, operating under Hakorin Damisa 4, on Wednesday burst a gun factory in a building in Pakachi village of Mango local government area of Plateau State. The operation also said one suspect was apprehended in the building, while a cache of firearms and ammunition was recovered. The discovery of the gun factory came amidst efforts by the security agencies to restore law and order in Mango General area, where crisis had erupted in recent times, resulting in the loss of lives and properties. In a statement, the spokesperson of the operation, Captain Oya James, said the gun factory was discovered during a clearance operation by troops on rugged mountainous terrain. Captain James said items recovered from the facility include 5 AK-47 rifles, 4 AK-47 magazines, 11 rounds of 7.62 millimeters ammunition, rounds of 9 millimeters ammunition, 21 Dane guns, 4 revolver rifles, and 11 pistols with 5 magazines. Others are 17 gun barrels, 6 rounds of 0.44-inch ammunition, a carbide cylinder with accessories, 3 saws, 12 filing machines, 4 hammers, and 6 manual drilling machines, among others. Elsewhere, commercial operators in Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, have expressed worry over the state government's decision to limit their operational hours due to insecurity, although they are not happy that the reduction in their work hours will negatively impact their income. They, however, welcomed the development since it is meant to protect lives and properties. Here's the report.
Some of the operators and commuters said the situation is not favorable due to how early they need to leave the roads. But on the other side, many welcome the move as it aims to promote security across the metropolis.
So governor has right to reduce the time due to the insecurity of the state. So without security, there is not any movement. If insecurity going on, maybe they will say Okada riders will park all 24 hours because of insecurity.
We have nothing to say but to thank God. However, we are calling on the government to address the situation. If we are to come out by 6 o'clock and close by 6 o'clock, definitely it is uncomfortable to us, the riders and the commuters. Criminals usually use motorcycle to commit crime, not keke napep. Government should please help us.
Some commuters who commended the state government for the move alleged that hoodlums use auto rickshaws at night to perpetrate evil, hence the need to regulate their activities as a way of reducing crime and criminality in the state.
Government want to help us. If not, what was going on in this country is nothing to rattle about. Many people lost their lives just because in the night you may say, okay, take me in this place. You will not know. You will pay money at the end of the day. On the way, they will slaughter you. On the way, they will kill you. So I support what the government have done.
He's trying his possible best in order him to bring the security, to restore the security in the state capital. So I think he's working tirelessly toward that the security problem. So my advice to them is only to exercise patience. And we, the commuters, we have to exercise patience too.
The chairman, Auto Rickshaw, also known as Keke Association, Abdullahi Bello, said although the situation is not favorable for them, the association is, however, hopeful that the state government is working towards creating balance between securing the state and having their members operate smoothly.
We have asked our members to comply with the directive because it's a security issue. Whenever it has to do with the security issue, you have to be very careful about it. So we have directed the members to comply and close by 8 o'clock. And being member of the committee, part of the committee, we are discussing with the government on how to tackle the challenges.
The chairman called on riders, commuters, and businessmen to exercise patience as their operations will be streamlined soon for the benefit of all.
On to matters around the cost of living. In the face of an escalating cost of living crisis, survival has become a daily struggle for many in Nigeria. Traditional local food vendors, commonly referred to as buka, have been forced to adapt by taking their businesses to the streets as rental prices soar out of reach for the majority. Victoria Tokolo reports that vendors are now wheeling and hawking their food directly to customers. Her report is presented from our studio.
The Nigerian economy is currently facing a critical test of resilience and adaptation. Surviving in today's economic climate demands innovative ideas and strategies. Amid these challenges, local food vendors, known colloquially as buka, along with drink sellers, have adapted by mobilizing their businesses. They are now seen wheeling their goods through the streets directly to their customers. This shift has also seen younger women who cannot afford a wheel cart balancing their goods on their heads, traversing the city in an effort to support themselves and their families. Several vendors share their frustration over the soaring prices of food items, which has significantly impacted their operations.
I don't get money to let shop. That's why I push them there, walk out in those streets to see money to train my children. Because I don't have money now, I like to manage myself. So they can train my children. I just they push them for all the whole area where I see, they can train my children.
Why I roll this truck is because I cannot afford to get a shop. That is why I'm rolling. And I'm using this to help my family, to pay for my children's school fees.
Before I buy this one, I sell them 20 naira before, 15 naira before. Now, I don't just 100 naira, 200, as everything they cost.
Buka Food, renowned for its affordability and generous service, continues to command a significant following among the populace. Patrons of these mobile food services, encompassing both wheel cart vendors and hawkers, have openly shared their perspectives.
How we used to manage ourselves in this Nigeria. As you can see, this mama before, I bought it 50 naira. But now, if you don't have 100 naira, you cannot buy it. Imagine, what is this for more? What's for more giving us?
But all these hawkers that sell food in the main road, that is the best way that you can just manage yourself this time around. But we don't really understand how this country is anymore. Because, okay, we say that okay, we should vote for Baba now, so we vote for Baba now. See now, we don't understand this country anymore. We are buying two pure water, 50 naira.
See Nigeria, see 100 naira. As me, as family man, I brought fufu 300, no meat. See what's in Nigeria, I don't understand. Yeah? We did tire for all this thing. Make our government help us.
In the light of these challenges, mobile food vendors are appealing to the government to intervene by reducing the prices of food items in the market.
And amidst the rising food crisis and widespread inflation in Nigeria, the federal government has announced plans to distribute 42,000 metric tons of rice free of charge to the needy. This initiative aims to enhance access to food and alleviate the burden of soaring commodity prices. Ultra TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
Despite having millions of hectares of arable land, Nigeria is grappling with the food crisis as inflation and supply shortages worsen an already difficult economic environment. This situation has generated heightened tension amongst the vulnerable population. The impending food insecurity in the country, according to the government, is as a result of multiple factors that can be linked to lack of affordability, accessibility, and looming scarcity, which require urgent intervention through distribution of free grains to the most vulnerable.
The 42,000 is in the process of release, and we're waiting for indexes, and we have already started talking with NEMA. We were together yesterday, and we're trying to see how, because the results are in different locations, and permit me, I won't be able to tell you where the locations are. I have them, but for security reasons, we should not be able to tell to the world where the locations are. But they are spread across the country, and we are assiduously working with NEMA to see how we can get those to the where it is needed the most.
A partnership between the states and federal government, according to the agriculture minister, is targeting 1 million tons of rice to address the deficit in the supply and demand chain of the nation's food production as part of long-term measure to guarantee food security.
But what we found out seeing this time around is that it's happening in January and February, which means that the issue of supply and demand is taking place. The affordability aspect is the greatest challenge that we find ourselves today. The risk, like you rightly pointed out, is available in the market, but it's just not affordable.
These reassurances by the government are failing to inspire hope as public concerns grow over the poor implementation of the federal government's palliative measures that have been designed to prevent the population from going under. The removal of fuel subsidy has continued to cause ripples in the Nigerian economy since May last year. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And away from the cost of living, voting has ended in the rescheduled rerun election into the Jalingo Eurozing Federal Constituency seat, which was earlier declared inconclusive. The returning officer, Daniel Ayuba, had cited the margin of lead between the PDP and SDP candidates, which he said was less than the number of permanent voter cards, PVCs, collected at the affected polling units. Wednesday's poll took place in 15 polling units in Jalingo, 7 in Euro and 2 in Zing councils. Voters at some of the polling units commended the peaceful nature of the polls and expressed the hope that the outcome will reflect the wishes of the people.
As you can see, the voting is going peacefully. The POs, the security personnel, all the necessary requirements are here. So there's nothing that's wrong with the polling.
People were aggrieved due to what has happened last time because they have come out in mass and vote, but it was later they discovered that the polling unit completely was cancelled, and most of them don't know why it has been cancelled. So due to this process, a lot of people feel that they will cry. They find it very difficult for them maybe to come out and vote. But thank God, at least there are some little enlightenment that is going on. People are enlightening people that did not hear about it. At least we are trying to see a lot of people now that are trying to come out more than expected.
We are the registered voters of this unit is 49. And so far, yes, this polling unit, we have 49 voters. But so far, so good, we only have 20 people that are out to vote.
And still on the election rerun, the Independent National Electoral Commission says hoodlums disrupted the rerun election in the Enugu South one-state constituency. The commission stated this via a tweet posted on its X handle on Wednesday. It added that though no lives were lost in the act, election materials were destroyed and voters were prevented from casting their votes. INEC officials have been safely evacuated with assistance from security agencies. In the meantime, the Bayelsa State Governor, Doye Diri, has been sworn in for a second term in office. The State Chief Judge, Justice Matilda Abrakasa Ayemiye, administered the oath to the governor and his deputy at the Samson Siasia Stadium in Yenagua. Trust TV's Friday, Ebimoboe Peter completes the report.
While expressing his deepest gratitude to the people of Bayelsa for re-electing him and his deputy Lawrence Rijako, Governor Duri noted that the day signifies the end of one chapter and the beginning of another in their collective pursuit of prosperity for the state. He noted that in the past 4 years, his government has prioritized interventions in education, health, infrastructure, agriculture, sport, transportation, human capacity development, youth and women empowerment, as well as security, and vowed that his administration will not to rest on its laurels until considerable development is achieved.
Agriculture, sports, transportation, human capacity development, youth and women empowerment, as well as security. We are happy to report some life-changing interventions in different spheres including prompt payment of pensions and outstanding gratuities. Expansion of the state health insurance scheme, introduction of a robust science, technical, and vocational education program, and the construction of new science and technical colleges to boost manpower development.
He called on Bayelsans to set aside their differences arising from the outcome of the election and work towards building a state that will be the envy of the nation and a shining example of unity and love.
Let us therefore set aside our reservation we may have had after the elections and work for the growth of our state. For me, this means that power truly comes from God. Permit me to emphasize at this point the imperative of unity and togetherness. The African proverb which states, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
The mood in Yenagoa, the capital of Bayelsa State, was that of excitement as residents look forward to more democratic dividends in the coming years.
There are high expectations because of the pace the governor has already set in his last 4 years. People are looking up to him, doing more than he did in his first tenure.
They've shown him love in the first 4 years, and even in his re-election, they show him much more love. So the people are expecting that the miracle governor will come out smoking in his second tenure.
Present at the event were the Vice President Kashim Shettima, Vice President of Liberia Jeremiah Coach, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, former President Goodluck Jonathan and wife, as well as the governors of Adamawa, Niger, Osun, Delta, Akwa Ibom, Rivers and Kwara State. From Yenagoa, Friday, Ebimobowe Peter, Trust TV News, Yenagoa.
A colorful swearing-in ceremony there for the governor of Bayelsa State. Well, moving on now, Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike has announced a reward of 20 million naira for information leading to the arrest of suspected kidnappers in the FCT. Well, Nyesom Wike made the announcement during his inaugural visit to the FCT Police Command. Trust TV's Habibat Ajayi was there and now brings us more.
Briefing the minister during the visit, the Federal Capital Territory Police Commissioner Benedict Igwe says operative of the command have apprehended 7 notorious wanted kidnappers believed to be involved in criminal activities in the state. Additionally, 9 million naira in ransom cash was recovered. The CP revealed that 79 suspects were also detained during a separate operation targeting several black spots at Trademore, Galadimawa, Maitama, Kabusa and Gwagwalada in the FCT.
They are equally responsible for this kidnap. That was what led to our arresting them yesterday. The 2 staff of the Ministry of Defense, the Defense Estate kidnapped.
The minister lauded the police force for their commendable efforts and assured FCT residents of the President Tinubu's steadfast support in combating crime and criminality both at the territory as well as across the nation.
I've always said, every day is for the thief, man. The next day is for the owner of the house. Okay, let me put money on their head. And so wherever they are, send their men out there. Yes, sir. I will give them 20 million naira. I can go and fish them out wherever they are. Use that money on their head. I want to see them live or dead.
The FCT has in recent times witnessed a surge in kidnappings and related crimes. Hence, the announcement of the financial reward for information leading to the arrest of kidnappers. Meanwhile, the FCT minister has objected the price variations claimed by the company handling the finalized N24 Jai Road construction projects. Wike voiced his concerns while inspecting road projects spanning from the Southern Parkway to Ring Road 1, Guzape 2, and Northern Parkway Jai. The FCT minister, who highlighted significant development within the FCT's infrastructural landscape, expressed satisfaction with the pace and quality of the work so far.
We saw what Setlaco was doing. It's quite comprehensive. And that will change the landscape of that area. And I'm happy
of the quality of job that the company is carrying out. Then we went to Guzape, where the Gilmore is doing. If you look at the diplomatic area, it's quite interesting. I'm sure people would like to live there.
The minister assured residents of President Tinubu's commitment to transform Nigeria into a nation of their dreams. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Watching the news hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Catholic faithfuls observe Ash Wednesday as fasting begins. This and of course many more stories after the break. Join us again. Thanks for staying with the news hour on Trust TV. Now a recap of the top stories again. Nigerian Senate constitutes 43-man committee to review the constitution. And street hawking on the rise in Lagos as cost of living crisis worsens. Moving on to more stories now. The Sultan of Sokoto and Chairman, Northern Traditional Rulers Council, Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, has identified insecurity and poverty as the two monsters ravaging northerners in the country. Speaking at the 6th Executive Committee meeting of Northern Traditional Rulers Council in Kaduna, the Sultan said Nigeria has reached a level where people are very agitated, hungry and angry. Here's his report.
According to the Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar III, Nigerians are going through trying times, adding that only practical solutions could solve the challenges. He expressed fear that with millions of Nigerian youths left without jobs and food, Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder that could explode anytime, with devastating consequences.
We must find jobs for our teeming youth that are sitting idle. And I have said it so many times, we're sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Having teeming youth, millions of them without job, without food, we are looking for trouble.
The Sultan also urged the federal government to create job opportunities for the teeming youths across the country.
People are very, very agitated. People are hungry, they are angry, but they still believe there are people who can talk to them. They still believe in some of their governors. They still believe in some of their traditional leaders. They still believe in some of their religious leaders. Fortunately, some of us doubled as traditional and religious leaders.
Earlier, the governor of Kaduna State, who was represented by his deputy, Hadiza Balarabe, emphasized the important roles of traditional rulers in addressing some of the challenges bedeviling the society.
Northern Nigeria in recent times has been grappling with the challenges of insecurity. This region used to be not only an oasis of peace and stability, but also the food basket of the nation. Unfortunately, this same region has now become the epicenter of terrorism, banditry, and kidnappings. Our local economy has been destroyed. The lives so far lost is simply mind-boggling. Food insecurity looms. The poverty level is unsettling. Our people are deeply worried. They are asking questions. They want answers. They yearn for action.
Some of the traditional rulers who attended the meeting included the Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, and the Emir of Katsina, Abdulmumini Kabir. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
The federal government has asked the International Police, Interpol, to place 3 Nigerians on its watch list over alleged forgery. The suspects, a staff of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Odo Cheme, and 2 others were declared wanted for allegedly forging the signature of former President Muhammadu Buhari to steal the sum of $6.2 million in cash from the central bank. Ocheme was accused of plotting and forging documents in Buhari's name to steal $6,230,000 from the CBN coffers, along with Adamu and Imam Abubakar. This was stated in a letter signed by the Deputy Commissioner of Police and Head of Operation Office of Special Investigator Eloho Okpoziakpo. The accused were said to have forged a presidency identity card in the name of Jibril Abubakar, a letter dated 23 January 2023, purportedly written by Muhammadu Buhari to the SGF boss Mustafa, and another letter dated 26 January 2023, purportedly written by boss Mustafa to Godwin Emefiele. Others are a CBN memo dated 31st January 2023, purportedly written by the Director, Banking Services Department to the Governor, and another memo dated 7th February 2023, purportedly written by the Director, Banking Services Department to the Branch Controller, Abuja Branch, with the intent that the Central Bank of Nigeria, Abuja Branch, may, in the belief that the documents are genuine, be induced to pay the sum of $6,230,000 United States dollars to the suspects. Meanwhile, 14th February every year is celebrated as the Feast of St. Valentine's. The day represents different values to different people. In Makurdi, Jimmy Adzande spoke with residents on the activities of the day. Here's his report.
According to the Catholic doctrine, Valentine's Day commemorates the martyrdom of a man who defended true love by risking his own life. Residents say the day is more spiritual and not as interpreted by most people.
It's a day we show love for one another, but as most of us are aware, if not all, we have different types of love. But this kind of love we celebrate is what we call the agape kind of love. This one is shown, the one that directs people to God. We are called to celebrate this love by sharing love, putting smiles on the faces of others who have been rejected by society, others who have been rejected, our brothers and our sisters who are staying RDP camps, who are less fortunate. There are some people who have not smiled for so many years. Some are struggling, some are in the hospitals. It is our duty to go and give them hope. It is our duty to visit them and let them see the meaning why they should also be happy and have this love that Christ has encouraged us to share on this very day.
In spite of the current economic realities, some improvements were recorded at gift shops in Makurdi to mark the day.
My expectation this year was low, but the turn up I got this year was so high, and in fact I was overwhelmed because the economy status in the country is so low, things are not moving fine. But the sales this year, in fact, it was tremendously. That shows that love lives.
Residents of Makurdi, especially the youth, say they are set to give and to receive gifts from family and friends, as well as gifting the vulnerable members of the society.
A lot of people are celebrating, a lot of people has received gifts, but I am yet to receive a gift. And I believe I will surely receive a gift because I prepare to give out gift to the economy, man. Things are really hard. Because as in my kind of work for a very long time I have not seen a job. At times I want to work without receiving any customer, but with God we believe all things are going to be fine.
And see, today is actually a special day for us to show love. Valentine's Day being the 14th of February. I'm so happy for today because we all be sharing so many things. Some persons might be going to the IDP camps to show some love to those people out there, while some people will be showing some love to their loved ones, like your mom. You can share some gifts to them. As in, I know today we get heartbreak from different people and it gets hard to go be today, but I want to show you, say, even though they break your heart today, that's not the end of everything. As if you still find your hope for singles.
The residents say it is a low-key celebration this year, aimed to cut down costs in the face of current economic hardships. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
And Catholic faithful in Kaduna State have joined their counterpart across the world to observe Ash Wednesday, which marks the beginning of the 40 days of fasting and prayers. The period which leads to the Christian celebration of Easter is a time that calls for sober reflection, almsgiving, as well as abstinence from immorality. Here's the report.
As early as 6 a.m., Catholics converge for a sacred mass to receive ash on their forehead, rendered by the sign of the cross, which symbolizes the beginning of 40-day fasting season. The February 14 event reminds Christians that God's love is a key part of the penitence season, meant to prepare believers for the Easter celebration. The Catholic priest of St. Paul Ngorimi Kaduna, Reverend Father Joshua Achiu, said, "It's time for Christians to reflect on the love Christ has for the whole world by giving his life on the cross to save mankind.
It is indeed a season of grace, a season of hope, a season of holiness, a season where we are called upon to rediscover ourselves and improve our relationship with God and with our brothers and sisters. But you cannot think just about yourself without thinking about the good of the nation. It is a time for sober reflection. It is a time to look inwardly and see how one can contribute one's quota to the good of the nation and the people at large.
He urged Christians to fast in a way that will please God and pray for the nation, while calling on Nigerian leaders to address the present security challenges and economic hardship citizens are facing in the country. Some Christian faithfuls reiterated their commitment to serving God and humanity during and after the Lenten season and expressed hope for a better nation.
And then we pray that God will help us as we start this journey today successfully. Nigeria is our root, is our country. We will never get tired of praying for the country. And we pray for the best of the country. And we pray that even the present government, the way everything is getting tougher, with God all things are possible.
This is the opportunity that we have to pray and do this fasting because of all these things that we are facing in Nigeria. We have to fast and ask God to forgive us our sin, and God should provide whatsoever we need in life because we are in a difficult time now.
Ash Wednesday launches the 40-day Lenten season leading up to Easter, the commemoration of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And meanwhile, despite an extension of the deadline for intending pilgrims to register for the 2024 Hajj by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, the number of intending pilgrims has failed to reach the allocated 90,000 seats for Nigeria. The low turnout has been blamed on the economic downturn currently plaguing the nation, which depleted spending abilities of the average Nigerian. Habiba Ajayi reports that with the February 12th deadline now officially passed with Nigeria yet to meet its quota, many are worried how the country will meet its financial obligations to the Saudi authorities. Here's a report.
Although pilgrims from various regions were granted extra time to register, the hope of a broader participation has not been fully realized. Historically, Nigeria has consistently filled its allocated seats provided by Saudi Arabia. However, the current turnout remains sluggish, with reports citing the associated cost as a significant deterrent. In response to this concern, Hajj operators are now implementing installment payment plans to address financial difficulties.
People look beyond you having the money or you having the financial capability to do it. In as much their minds picks up, they have that intention of going, they work towards it, and it's been interesting. It's been interesting. If you need to go by the percentage, the way at which they are paying. At times, who to feel as if, oh, will people be able to pay this amount? But from the account unit, you see that people are just making that payment because the interest is there and they understand the reason why they are doing this. It's not for the worldly benefit, not for any economic benefit, but it goes beyond the worldly benefits.
Amidst these challenges, a Muslim cleric advises followers to pursue lawful means to join the ranks of intending pilgrims.
When we all know the economy of the country nowadays, that, the amount is not that easy, but I want to advise the Muslims across the world that we should believe that whatever we do for the sake of Allah, no matter how it is cost, if you do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will reward us. It's not easy. Yes, we all know. So, but we believe that if you do it for the sake of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, will definitely provide for you from where you don't know, where you don't expect. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for all of us.
As the extended deadline expires, There are concerns about whether or not NACON should proceed with the Hajj plans to Saudi Arabia in the face of the low patronage due to their harsh economy, given the fact that there is this need to meet the payments obligations to the Saudi authorities. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And the International Press Institute has charged journalists to continue discharging their duties in line with the principle of media law and ethics, despite the economic difficulties they're grappling with. The charge was given in Kano at a two-day capacity building training for senior journalists avoiding strategic lawsuits against public participation, SLAP. Trust TV's correspondent Idris Jibrin was there and reports.
These senior journalists drawn from the Nigeria's northwest region are here to be trained on how to avoid SLAP suits and remain ethical, with a focus on media law, ethics, and fact-checking. According to the president, IPI Nigeria, the training for senior journalists has become necessary to further understand the most dangerous legal loopholes editors must avoid, as well as operational loopholes that can trigger media repression, among others.
In Nigeria, a number of media outlets are being suffocated by SLAP. In recent times, at least 2 journalists have been convicted for criminal defamation, with 2 key independent media organizations having their bank accounts frozen and their operations disrupted as a result of lawsuits. While law reform is critical in Nigeria and other countries to solve the problem of SLAP, IPI Nigeria believes that another sensible response to the challenge will be to equip journalists.
The International Press Institute believes that the role of the media in shaping the perception of the society cannot be overemphasized. Hence the training to help journalists hold government accountable and be protected against government repression and arbitrary arrest.
The need for independent and ethical journalism has become paramount. However, you know well that independent journalism is under constant attack. One of the key threats to journalism today comes from legal tools deployed by the rich and powerful. It is the use of strategic lawsuits against public participation, commonly known as SLAPs.
Battling fake news and media manipulation, minimizing the risk of defamation and government censorship are some of the major issues to be discussed in the next 2 days.
We have very serious challenges with the ethics and the professionalism, because these days, you know, the digital media has changed so many things now. Now, any man or woman with a telephone that can take picture and record voices, they can pretend to be journalists because they can record incidents. They can share them to millions of people, whether WhatsApp or whatever. So, as a matter of fact, journalism faces a serious threat.
The media is the blood, you know, through which democracy actually grows. Now, you know, it's very obvious that we're in a period when the proliferation of online, you know, media platforms have actually come with a very serious challenge, that of fake news. So one of the key objectives of this training is to enhance the capacity of journalists to be able to fact check, to ensure that whatever they publish is actually correct.
The board chairman, IPI Nigeria, Kabiru Yusuf, who addressed the meeting virtually, stressed the need for journalists to uphold the ethics of media practice and offer policy options to address the prevalent economic difficulty in the country by holding government to account. Media scholars and several other senior journalists across the Nigeria's northwest region are attending the training. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And the Jigawa State government has approved the release of 1 billion naira for the 2024 State Equity Fund, Modi Health Care. The fund is to, among other things, address issues of health care among vulnerable groups. Here's the report.
This equity fund has its objective to extend free primary and secondary healthcare services to the less privileged and vulnerable population over the course of 12 months. The initiative aligns with the present administration's goal of achieving universal healthcare for all residents of the states. Following deliberations, the council okayed the allocation of 1 billion naira, specifically earmarked to benefit 500 vulnerable individuals in each of the 287 political wards across the state. This totals an impressive 143,500 people expected to benefit from the program, which will ultimately enhance access to crucial healthcare services. Adding to this effort, the State Commissioner for Information, Sagir Musa Ahmed, revealed that this initiative would complement the ongoing Jigawa State Insurance Scheme. The scheme, already in place, allows civil servants in the state to enjoy improved access to healthcare services.
We all know that the 2024 appropriation bill has been passed by the Jigawa State House of Assembly and asserted by the Governor of Jigawa State. In the 2024 appropriation, the state government have earmarked 1 billion naira to be dedicated for social equity. This social equity is going to be supporting poor and vulnerable population of Jigawa State to have access to primary health care across the health facilities in the state. So that's what this 1 billion is all about, and is going to be complemented by the initial program that we have in Jisma that provides the civil servants to have access to healthcare.
With these strategic moves, the Jigawa state government is taking robust steps to address healthcare disparities and make meaningful progress towards the realization of comprehensive healthcare coverage for all residents.
The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, says Nigeria cannot continue to subsidize electricity, but will instead begin to move towards a cost-effective tariff model. This, the minister said, is because the country is currently indebted to the tune of 1.3 trillion naira to generating companies and $1.3 billion to gas companies. Adelabu, who addressed a press conference in Abuja on Wednesday, said only 450 billion naira was budgeted for subsidy this year, but the ministry needs over 2 trillion naira for the subsidy. He also said the state governments will now be allowed to independently generate and supply power to their states. Let's now join Yusuf Akogu, who is standing by with business news.
Welcome to Business News. I am Yusuf Akogu. Nigeria oil output has risen month-on-month to 1.43 million barrels per day in January 2024 from 1.34 million barrels recorded in December 2023. These figures indicate an increase of 6.9%. On a year-on-year, the nation's oil output rose by 15.6% to 1.43 million barrels per day in January 2024 from 1.23 million barrels recorded in the corresponding period of 2023. According to the monthly oil market report of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, the output excludes condensate, a light crude which Nigeria has the capacity to produce between 300 and 400,000 barrels per day. The federal government and the World Bank are targeting about $3 billion to fund additional 120,000 kilometer fiber optic cables to leapfrog broadband infrastructures and connectivity. Minister of Communications, Innovations and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, said the initiative involves stakeholders from the private sector and it is expected to be delivered within the next 3 years. Speaking in Abuja during the stakeholders engagement titled Broadband for All, Dr. Tijani added that it has become imperative to seek investment in the nation's digital backbone to facilitate access to affordable prices of digital space for all Nigerians. He said at the moment Nigeria has laid only about 3,035 kilometers fiber optic cable against 120,000 kilometers required for quality and efficient access to internet and other digital services irrespective of locations. The mining industry witnessed a substantial influx of bank loans in the third quarter of 2023. The Central Bank of Nigeria's latest quarterly statistics bulletin showed that borrowing to the sector has surged to approximately 12.76 billion naira. This amount represents a staggering 296% increase from the 3.22 billion recorded in the preceding quarter, underscoring a robust appetite for capital despite economic challenges. By the close of September 2023, the cumulative debt burden by firms within the sector was 42.35 billion naira. Now to commodities market now. For many food items, retail and consumer prices are rising substantially faster than wholesale and market prices. We look at the market of meat in Nigeria today. Of course, cow meat, 1 kilo there is going for 3,800 naira. That is the average price irrespective of where you are in Nigeria. Ram meat, 1 kilo as well, is going for 5,200 naira. Of course, goat meat as well, going for 3,200. Chicken, if you want to eat chicken, you need to, raise at least 4,000 naira to get a kilo of that. And of course, turkey, 1 kilo is going for 5,800 naira. Of course, moving on now, we look at the fish, prices of fish in our market. Of course, we look at them separately. Catfish there, for those of you that enjoy catfish, you need to have 5,500 naira for you to be able to, enjoy a fresh catfish there as well. Titus, of course, is also going for 4,000 naira for a kilo. Golden pompano, as it is called, one piece is there is 6,000 naira there. Of course, stock fish as well, talking about size 3, is going for 17,000, and that is so huge. Of course, if you want to eat smoked mangala fish, you need to spend at least 2,800 naira for 3 sticks of the meat as well. From food commodities to stock markets now, Nigerian stock market rebounds on Wednesday as investors renewed appetite for equities. And we look at how it went down today. Of course, Airtel Africa, they're leading the gainers table there by 10% after closing at 2,200 naira per share. Unity Bank doing so well today, 10% it also gained as well to close at 2 naira and 42 kobo per share. And of course, Julie not left out there in the scheme of things, also gaining 9.91% to close at 1 naira and 22 naira per share. Of course, this has moved the market up by 1.81%, and of course the market cap recording additional over 2,000 basis points at the close of market today. 404.762 million volume of shares. Of course, in terms of value, 11.691 billion naira in a days of 8,433 exchange hands among investors today. We look at some of the top trading equities for the day. We have the First Bank of Nigeria holding recording 54.611 million shares. The UBA, United Bank for Africa, 47.658 million shares, and of course Access Corporation, 46.05 million shares. All banking sector are fair today. Of course, we have some few losing equities. NCR down 10%, Thomas Watt down 10% as well. And of course, Honey Flower also down 9.95%. So the highlight of the stock trading for today as it went down on the trading floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange Group. Now we look at the stock market in Africa and the rest of the world. Now let's check the forex market. Naira gained marginally against the United States dollar, appreciating to 1,499 per dollar from an all-time low of 1,534. Let's see how it ended trading today. Finally, in business, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, say it is sticking to its forecast for relatively strong growth in global oil demand in 2024 and 2025. OPEC, in a monthly report, said world oil demand will rise by 2.25 million barrels per day this year and by 1.85 million barrels per day in 2025. At the London market, Brent crude sells for $82 per barrel. For the OPEC basket price move up also to $82 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akogo.
Thanks to Yusuf for business news. And away from Nigeria, talks over a truce in Gaza are ongoing in Cairo as allies pressure Israel to refrain from its planned ground assault in the southern city of Rafah. Israel is under increasing pressure from its allies not to go ahead with its planned ground offensive in Rafah, where over 1 million Palestinians are sheltering from war. As concerns for Rafah's civilian population mounts, negotiations for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas are still underway in the Egyptian capital of Cairo. And also, Ghana's president, Nana Akufo-Addo, has removed his finance minister in a sweeping reshuffle on Wednesday, ahead of December elections where an economic crisis looks set to take center stage. Ken Ofori-Atta will be replaced by lawmaker Mohammed Amin Adam, according to a presidency statement. And the long-serving finance minister in office since 2017 has faced criticisms for his handling of Ghana's most severe economic crisis in decades. Let's now join Emmanuel Fashimi with Sports News.
Despite not winning the competition, 3 players from Nigeria Super Eagles made the team of the tournament by the technical study group put together by the African Soccer Governing Body CAF. The team of the tournament was announced on Wednesday afternoon with the 3 of defenders, William Truss Ekong, Olaino and forward Ademola Lookman listed. Ekong was named the tournament's most valuable player on Sunday after the final following his strong display. Lookman was responsible for Super Eagles reaching the semi-final of the tournament with goals against Cameroon and Angola. Aino on his part was important to the Super Eagles team with his ability to switch positions at will. The full team has goalkeeper Ronwen Williams from South Africa, defenders Olaino from Nigeria, Gishilan Conan from Cote d'Ivoire, William Truss Ekongo from Nigeria, and Cancel Mbemba of DR Congo. Midfielders include Tebo Mokwena of South Africa, Jean Michael Seri of Cote d'Ivoire, and Frank Ekese. Strikers who made the team include Yohan Wissa of DR Congo, Ademola Lookman of Nigeria, and Emilio Nsue of Equatorial Guinea. Meanwhile, the Equatorial Guinea Football Federation is Emilio Nsue from the national team along with Edo Salvador. The decision follows several episodes of serious indiscipline and unpleasant incidents during the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON, where Ivory Coast won the title. Emilio Nsue, despite his brilliant performance as the AFCON's top scorer with 5 goals, is suspended due to unprofessional behavior before and after the national team's participation in the competition. Edo Salvador is sanctioned for his involvement in an incident that occurred on January 29th in Abidjan, which required the intervention of the local police. The incident caused a notable delay in the team's return to Equatorial Guinea, leading to a downgrade in the reputation of the national team and the country. Emmanuel Fashini.
And that wraps up the news hour on Trust TV. Stay tuned for more programs and documentaries on the channel. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Good night.